Welcome to NACTV Reads the News. My name is Cathy McGrath, and I'm one of many volunteers that help create programming for our station. NACTV can be seen on MTS Channel 30 or 1030, Westman Cable Channel 17, Bell Satellite Channel 592, or online at nactv.tv. These programs are made possible by our volunteers, staff, advertisers, as well as donations made by you, the viewers. If you are enjoying your NACTV experience, please consider supporting us by either donation or volunteering. You can contact our office at 204-476-2639 or at nactv@wcgwave.ca. And today's issue of the Neepawa Banner and Press is for Friday, January 10th, 2025, a brand new year. So we start off the brand new year by looking back at last year, 2024, a year in review. And starting on the upper left, I know the pictures are small, but I can read the captions. March 2024. Dax Turner and Lara Denbo earned gold, and Ben Parrott took home a bronze at the U Sports Nationals. And in January 2024, Frozen Fire Studio, owned and operated by Jeff Descender, above left, was honored with national recognition via the Canadian Choice Award. And Tesla supercharger stations, pictured right above right, were installed at the Neepawa Gladstone Co-op food store and gas bar in Neepawa. And in March 2024, generously dispensed treats were a great boon to the birds. And February 2024, it is officially announced that the Beautiful Plains Medical Clinic will become home to a 2-year medical residency program starting in July. And also in February 2024, farewell was bid to this long-standing building in the Gladstone community. Known as the Galloway, it was a landmark that was close to the hearts of many in that town, being the scene of many memories throughout its long history. It was found necessary to tear down the building due to extensive interior damage following a fire that occurred in December of 2022. And May 2024, Neepawa resident Murray Black with son Tom visited Hong Kong to see the site at which their father-grandfather, Mike Black, was held as a prisoner of war in World War II. And April 24, this month featured the viewing of a partial eclipse with festivities at the Flats in Neepawa above. Bannock making at the Manitoba Maple Syrup Festival in McCreary, far right, and an epic effort from the Neepawa Titans as the Verdant Oil Capitals in the playoff series, just right. The Titans were defeated, but put in an effort to be proud of. And in June 2024, Neepawa was recognized with esteem via the presentation of an award from the Economic Development Association of Manitoba, EDAM. Congratulations. And May 2024, the reopening of the Carberry Emergency Department was announced above. And Brant Young left from Neepawa, finished his Junior A hockey career with the Winkler Flyers as a Turnbull Cup champion. And in August 2024, the Neepawa Public Library's new branch supervisor, Caitlin Henderson. She took over the role from Debbie Unger, who retired back in the spring after 9 years in the position. And in June 2024, Super 50 Drugs hosted its official ribbon-cutting ceremony in Neepawa, pictured above. Located at 2225 Ellen Street, the location was previously known as Neepawa Pharmacy. And Kristen Wilson, right at the top picture, formerly of Glenella and McCreary, graduated from the University of Manitoba with distinction while beating cancer. Hats off to you, Kristen. And MP Dan Mazur's Internet Bill C-288 was set to receive royal assent after passing its final vote, pictured right. Oh my goodness. And in July 2024, the town of Neepawa put pen to paper on a significant land purchase, confirming the acquisition of 320 acres in the northwest portion of the community near Manitoba Highway number 5. And in July 2024, a public forum was held in Carberry on Tuesday, July 16th, to showcase some of the potential upgrade options for the intersection of the Trans-Canada Highway and Highway 5. The intersection was the scene of a tragic auto accident last year that took the lives of 17 people. And in July 2024, on Saturday, July 20th, there was the 3rd annual Riverbend Arts Forward Farmery Tours event, known as RAFT. As well, Margaret Lawrence Home held the Manawaka Garden Party, and the rescheduled Canada Day festivities took place. Also in July, starting in 2004, the group known as the Dinosaurs Club has been a collection of golfers, mostly over the age of 65, that play around at the Gladstone Golf and Country Club every morning. And in October 2024, Touchwood Park held the official grand opening of its accessible playground project located at 145 Commerce Street. The accessible play park is available for all members of the public to enjoy. And in July 2024, an exhibition and auction was held for Neepawa artist Cathy Martin at the 2024 Gold Thread Gala in Wasagaming. The gala will feature 10 large oils paintings whose concept focused around capturing the natural beauty of Clear Lake country. And in June 2024, a new colorful addition to Neepawa arrived back in June. Sleeves were rolled up and brushes were at the ready to paint with pride. The painting project was the creation of the recently formed Neepawa and Area Pride Group and will be a permanent rainbow sidewalk located just out front of Arts Forward. Whoops! August 2024. On Sunday, August 11th, the community of Carberry gathered with the city of Dauphin at Lily Park just south of the Trans-Canada Highway on Wellwood Road to unveil a monument to honor those lives lost and pay tribute to those involved in the fateful accident on June 15th, 2023. The families of those lost and affected that day came together to grieve and to join together to further the healing process. August 2024, Dr. Gabrielle Elvero and Dr. Emma Ball started their medical residency programs at Beautiful Plains Medical Clinic in Neepawa. August 2024, the McCreary Ag Fair and Rodeo was held last weekend. The event is organized by the Heartland Rodeo Association in conjunction with the McCreary Agricultural Society and is the centerpiece of the festivities for the community. In September 24, Cole Farquhar has started establishing his client base in Neepawa since opening Brick House Barbershop at Venus Hair and Body Care. August 2024, a warm coat can make all the difference when it comes to a Manitoba winter. The Neepawa Newcomers Coat Room, and NCR, geared up its 2024 giveaway session. The local nonprofit initiative is dedicated to giving newcomers to Neepawa a warm welcome and helping them adjust to Manitoba's icy winters by providing them with warm coats and other resources free of charge. September 2024, Annie Dobush, formerly of Polonia, celebrated her 110th birthday on Saturday, September 14th at Country Meadows Care Home in Neepawa. Pictured, here is Annie, along with a Country Meadows care worker, receiving her cake as part of the celebration festivities. In August 2024, fun, fresh bannock, live music, and more made the Minnedosa and District Museum and Heritage Village the place to be on August 18th. The 2024 edition of the museum's Heritage Day event was held that Sunday. The festivities for this year were put on in collaboration with the local Red River Métis. In September 2024, Kennedy Baker's one-of-a-kind hockey bench found its home at the Yellowhead Center in Neepawa, pictured left. It was won in a draw by Mary Ellen Clark and gifted back to the community, selecting the Titans logo to be featured on the bench as its finishing touch. And past Neepawa resident Veronica Jingles came to speak at the first ever Neepawa's Got Pride, organized by Neepawa and Area Pride, pictured right. Jingles is seen here with Neepawa Pride President Rhiann Beaver. September 2024, a Gladstone pumpkin business trip to Kenton made for an awe-inspiring front page. Aspen McDonald, pictured, was a pumpkin-picking assistant. There's a tiny little baby in the picture. October 2024, a vibrant and educational day was shared for Neepawa's own celebration of Indigenous Culture Day, held in partnership between the local area Indigenous leaders, Arts Forward, and the town of Neepawa, left. Shown at the top right, the NACI Community Art Club made its first mark on this town by painting a set of freestyle murals on the frontage of 287 Hamilton Street after receiving permission from its new owners. And the Gladstone United Church celebrated its 100th anniversary, having originally opened in 1924, shown above right. All of these events and many more took place in October 2024. And also in October, the latest installment of What's the Big Idea featured many new and expanding local area businesses. Entries were widely varied in their themes. And winding down 2024, November, Prairie Mountain Health and LM Architectural provided an update on the construction of the new Neepawa Health Center Hospital on October 24th. The handover of the facility is anticipated to occur in 2026, with the first patient being accepted in late 2026 or early 2027. And November 2024, on Saturday, November 9th, Tara McCarty was honored with the 2024 Anne Kaharski Memorial Sportsperson of the Year Award. The award is presented every year during the Neepawa Sports Dinner at the Yellowhead Center. Pictured, McCarty poses with Mary Ellen Clark. And in November 2024, Shane Knighty and his family attended Shane's induction ceremony into the Manitoba Hockey Hall of Fame. Pictured left to right, Sean, Shane's brother, Dad and Mom, Ed and Diana, and Shane. And December 2024, the Yellowhead Center recently held their annual general meeting. The volunteer-operated facility is facing many challenges to remain viable in the future. December 2024, Tricia and Macy Kerr of Neepawa participated in the Make-A-Wish Foundation Trees of Joys. This year, Trees of Joys is held by the Make-A-Wish Foundation and the Canadian National Railway since 2018. Macy attended the 2024 event with her mum and two brothers. And May 2024, the annual Carberry-based memorial fundraiser held in honor of Kalina Green had hundreds in attendance and included the Campbell family. It raised funds for Xander's Legacy Fund and Carberry Splash Park. And pictured above, September, Harris Pharmacy in Neepawa officially opened in a brand new building at 366 Mountain Avenue. It was originally located at 424 Mountain and had operated there for many years. And finally, in our look back, November 2024, a mock-up of the new Northern Light Lager beer cans from Farmery Estate Brewery. The Neepawa-based brewery launched its Northern Skies Through Women's Eyes campaign, featuring pictures of nature from 4 different Manitoba photographers. The photographers whose work was selected include Jody Baker of Neepawa, Tracy Gregorish Minnedosa, Donna Latch, Plumas, and Alyssa Ferguson of Thompson. And now, finishing our review of 2024, we'll move on to the news from 2025. Starting with Right in the Center by Ken Waddell. Thankfully, many changes are ahead. The new year always sets the stage for reflection on the past years, and it's always a good time to plan ahead. Let's start with the known things. No matter how upsetting world events have become, the sun will rise tomorrow. If it doesn't, we won't have anything to worry about anyway. But I am nearly sure the sun will rise. The sun has a good track record. Some would believe that we live in rough, tough times, and to some extent, that is true. Prices are high, costs of running a household, a farm, or a business seems out of control. Governments seem to have lost their minds. They are claiming to control costs, but at the same time, they are doing some really questionable things. If people can spare a couple of hours, I encourage them to watch Jordan Peterson's interview with Pierre Poilievre. Whether you like or agree with either man, you owe it to yourself to examine what they have to say as they actually examine issues, problems, causes, and solutions. I know this sounds very biased, but what Poilievre and Peterson cover contrasts starkly to what Prime Minister Trudeau has been telling us. Trudeau's answer to everything is, "We as Liberals have always looked after the interest of Canadians and will continue to do so." Well, I hope not, as the Trudeau years have been a disaster for Canadians, as the federal government has mismanaged just about everything they have touched. From drug policy to housing to COVID-19 to electric cars, the feds have stumbled from one disaster to another. All that stumbling has been in a deep, muddy ditch called national debt. From personal experience, we know that the Canada Revenue Agency is about 4 years behind in their work. The problem with the Liberal government is that just about every person who knew what needed to be done has quit and or been forced out. The basic problem is at the top. It rests with the Prime Minister, and at the risk of being unkind, his resignation is good news. Canada has always needed strong leadership, and we have not received it in recent years. Trudeau's predecessor, Stephen Harper, was a much stronger leader. When he went off track, was listening to what us political observers call the boys in short pants, the political backroom people who convinced the Conservative leader that he had to take on some Liberal stances so as to appeal to a broader voter base. I personally watched the former Manitoba leader, Hugh McFadden, go down the same path. To his peril, he found out the hard way that the Conservatives make very poor Liberals. Fancy logos and cute sayings don't make for firm and good government. Good financial management makes for good government. So what needs to be done? The bureaucracies have to be retained. Canada and Manitoba spend a lot of money, yes, waste a lot of money without solid, well-thought-out plans. A prime example is the doctor shortage. We have been short of doctors for decades, but have not raised our medical college output enough. We should be training our own people to be doctors and medical staff. Double the output if needed. When the Allies in World War II needed more pilots and aircrew to win the war, they trained them by the thousands in a matter of 2 to 3 years. We should not be recruiting foreign doctors. Other countries need them as badly as we do, and they have paid for that training. We should be elevating at great speed approval of credentials of people who have immigrated to Canada to be in medicine or trades. I suspect there are doctors working jobs that are definitely not in the medical field. Politics in Manitoba and Canada has become very dumbed down. There's lots of blame to go around causing the political downfall. Much of the blame rests with media. Corporate ownership of media has killed off many newspapers, TV, and radio stations. Fortunately, the corporate influence in the newspaper has largely dwindled. I will take my share of media blame, but I am still plugging away trying to elevate political awareness. Many people don't understand the difference between government debt and deficit. Deficit is the annual financial shortfall. Debt is the accumulation of the annual deficits. Sadly, both those numbers are huge, so big that most of us can't comprehend those kinds of dollars. So part of the dumbing down process is how complacent we become about money. Excuse me. The second dumbing down process takes place because some of the popular or trigger issues in a society. Politicians want to pump up the voters over issues that may be important, but in actual fact are not pivotal. The only issues that really matter are the economy, public safety, and national security. If the economy, public safety, and national security are not kept both sacred and healthy, most other issues don't matter so much. Please keep on learning and stay engaged. And Home Buddies by Rita Friesen. CBC and me. Traveling alone, it is CBC Radio Canada that keeps me company. Admittedly, there are some programs that appeal to me more than others. Most times I enjoy and learn from them. For the first time in a long time, the guests so intrigued me that I pulled over to the side of the road to make notes. I wanted to know about Bill T. Jones from his interview with Tom Powers on the Talking About Art segment. The probing question was, what did Bill want from life? 3 things: to always keep his eye on the prize, not to die alone, and to be mourned when his time came as a cherished elder. That hit me right on the feels for several reasons. To keep his eye on the prize, to focus on his goals and how to achieve them, Bill T. Jones is an African-American choreographer, the 10th of 12 children of migrant farm workers. Bill worked hard at school, embracing sports until he was introduced to dance. He went on to pursue a successful career with dance, starting a studio and company with his husband, Arnie Zane. He spoke eloquently of the obstacles they faced as a mixed-race couple, the toll of AIDS in their circle of friends and associates, of how he wondered how he would have been received in public, by the public, if his husband had not been white. Focusing on his need and desire to explore human nature and sexuality through dance kept him working even after Arnie's death. Years later, he married again, this time to one practicing the Jewish faith. To not die alone. This is an emotion with which I am so familiar. From our first breath to our last breath, we crave, need human contact. It is my privilege to work with folks preparing to say farewell, and on occasion have been the one holding their hands as they release their last earthly breath. It is a sacred moment. For those who have no family, it is often a friend that sits vigil and honors the space. There is comfort and strength in the quiet presence of a fellow being as we graduate from our life on earth. May I also not die alone. To be mourned as a cherished elder. Both those words are deeply significant to me, and placed together bring me to my knees. Cherished is such a lovely old-fashioned word. It is the word that Gordon and I used to describe our relationship. We had both been married, divorced, and remarried, and after the death of our spouses, found strength and comfort and love with each other. It was a different love. We cherished each other, valued each moment that was granted to us, respected each other, and laughed and cried together. It was a different stage of our lives, and it was a gift, cherished. A friend, now graduated, and I discussed the role we filled in our separate and yet the same world. We recognized that we were seen as elders, not only in years, but as keepers of the wisdom, ready to seek and share knowledge with those who were ready, to be mourned as a cherished elder. And Faithfully Yours by Neil Stroshine, a lesson from a bundle of sticks. On March 24th, Canada's MPs and senators will return to Ottawa following an extended winter break. By then, the Liberal Party will have a new leader, and Canada will have a new Prime Minister who will take office knowing that he or she must prepare for a general election that, by law, must now take place no later than October 21st. I expect that by the time Parliament reconvenes, election fever will have reached epidemic proportions across Canada. Each political party will identify its key people, formulate positions on key issues, and make statements designed to measure the public's reaction to their ideas. Party leaders will use those responses to devise platforms that they hope will convince voters that they are strong enough to defend this country against the threats it faces in 2025. After all, no political party, government or opposition, wants to be seen as weak. But isn't that exactly where they need to be? An ancient fable tells of a king whose 6 sons, knowing that their father's death was near, began fighting among themselves to determine which of them should succeed him. The wise king asked his servant to bring him 12 sticks, all of similar length and thickness, and a long piece of rope. Calling his sons together, the king gave each of them a stick. "Break it," he commanded, and each son was able to break the stick that had been given to them. Then, using the rope, the king tied the remaining sticks into a tight bundle and handed it to each of his sons, beginning with the eldest. "Break it," he commanded. Each son tried as hard as he could, was unable to break that bundle of sticks. "Now, my sons," the king said, "you must learn the lesson from the bundle of sticks. If, when I die, our enemies see you fighting amongst each other, they will invade, conquer, and destroy the kingdom. But if you stand together as one person, if you speak as one, if you work as one, if you govern as one, and if you fight as one, you will build a strong kingdom that no enemy will ever be able to conquer." That is my New Year's message to the governments and people of Canada. Learn the lesson from the bundle of sticks. Learn it well and learn it quickly, because we may need to draw on the wisdom it contains very soon. In January 1942, British Prime Minister Winston Churchill addressed a joint session of the United States Congress. He began by saying, "We, Great Britain and her allies, did not want to go to war. We let Germany, Japan, and Italy know that we wanted peace. But we also told them that if they wanted to pick a fight, we would not back down. You can't say that unless you've learned the lesson from the bundle of sticks." In 11 days, we will know how the incoming U.S. administration plans to treat its northern and southern neighbors. President-elect Trump has made some of his intentions quite clear. Our political leaders need to stand and speak as one in defense of our country, its values, and its freedoms. We must show the world that we have learned the lesson from the bundle of sticks, and we are not afraid to say, "This is how we will respond to anyone who threatens our sovereignty and security." It is our response today, and it will be our response after the next election, whenever it is held and whichever party wins. And the RCMP report by Sergeant David Taggart, "Beware of Computer Hack Con." In the month of December, the Spruce Plains RCMP had 225 occurrences. We found 2 people to be impaired by alcohol, and they received administrative driving suspensions. We attended 9 collisions in our area. We investigated 6 assaults, 17 thefts, 8 fraud-related offenses, 5 vandalism reports, and many other criminal code and provincial statutes. There were 2 trucks stolen from Minnedosa, both of which were recovered. There have been thefts of mail from the Minnedosa, Neepawa, Rapid City, Kelwood, and Glenella post offices. If anyone has seen or sees suspicious activity going on at the post office late at night, please call 911 right away. Speeder of the month, a 29-year-old driver from Ontario going 150 kilometers an hour on Highway 16 in the RM of Minto-Adana. A serious offense notice was issued. Anti-fraud tip. Explicit video. The scammer will contact you through email. The scammer claims to have hacked your computer and recorded you performing an explicit act. They often cite some of your personal information or a password you have used as proof of the hack. They state that they will release the video publicly if you do not pay a fee via Bitcoin. The computer likely has not been hacked, and the password cited was likely obtained in a previous data breach. Red flags to warn you that you are most likely scammed. If your job is to complete tasks where you're depositing money into an account for someone and they're paying you to do it, you are likely getting scammed. Why wouldn't they just deposit it into the account themselves? There is no such job where you deposit money for someone and get paid to do it. If someone is asking you to send money by way of prepaid cards like Apple cards, you are most likely being scammed. The RCMP will be hosting a recruiting seminar at the Neepawa Library on January 18th at 2 p.m. If you are interested in a career with the RCMP, this will be a good opportunity for yourself or a friend to attend. And the Neepawa 4-H Club by Lynn Davidson, 4-H newspaper reporter. The Neepawa Bells, Bow and Builders 4-H Club has recently been looking for new members. The 4-H Club's past activities have included making Christmas cards and Valentines for the care home, doing the Japanese exchange student program, and riding on the 4-H float at the Parade of Lights with the 4-H Beef Club. Some other activities include bell ringing for the Salvation Army, volunteering at the Roxy Theatre, Salvation Army food drives, and more. If you are interested in joining or volunteering with the club, please contact cindyzubert@gmail.com for more information. And a letter to the editor by Levi Cottingham from Bertel. The Liberal Party is imploding. The Liberal Party is imploding, paralyzed by internal dysfunction and nearly a decade of mismanagement. Rather than focusing on the urgent crisis Canadians face, soaring inflation, skyrocketing house prices, and rising crime, the Liberals are consumed with their leadership race. The self-serving distraction is not what Canada needs. All they care about is stopping their party from being obliterated in the next election. The writing on the wall was when Finance Minister Chrystia Freeland suddenly quit cabinet on one of the most important days of the parliamentary calendar. not to mention when she supposed up-and-comer Housing Minister Sean Fraser announced that he would not be seeking re-election. Perhaps if the Prime Minister had done what was asked of Canadians in his caucus several months ago, there would be hope for the Liberal Party. This is not the case, and the Prime Minister only has himself to blame. Let's be clear. The Liberal leadership race won't fix the damage inflicted by nearly 10 years of Justin Trudeau. Whoever emerges as their new leader will still represent the same policies that have deepened inequality, eroded public trust, and left our economy vulnerable. Each potential Liberal leadership candidate has stood by Justin Trudeau's side. Every chance they got, they voted to raise taxes, restrict freedoms, and dig us further into debt. Worse yet, the process of selecting their next leader may include votes from individuals who aren't even Canadian citizens, meaning that the next leader of the Liberal Party of Canada, and likely the next Prime Minister of Canada, could be selected by those who are not citizens, or potentially by those who do not even live inside our borders. The fact that the next Prime Minister could be chosen by non-citizens rather than those who live, work, and pay taxes is disgusting, and the Liberal Party should understand this. Canada cannot afford to wait while the Liberals squabble over who gets to take the helm of their sinking ship. The leadership race won't change the party's trajectory. It's the same Liberal team that raised taxes, inflated housing costs, and allowed dangerous criminals to get out on bail. This isn't a fresh start. It's a continuation of failure. The stakes are too high for more Liberal games. Canada needs leadership focused on solutions, not self-preservation. It is time to put the country before the party. It's time for election is now. And out of Helen's kitchen, cakes and cameras. Over the holidays, I never saw an old-fashioned camera out. Today's camera is a small, digital addition to the computer that is our smartphone, capable of taking high-resolution images in the blink of an eye. We take the ability to snap a photo for granted now. It takes next to no thought at all to pick up our phones and take a photo which we can instantly see and share. So today's recipe will be preceded by a history of cameras which took photography many small steps to make it what it is today. Every stage on the camera's timeline is a lesson about man's determination, curiosity, and persistence. In 1826, French inventor Joseph Neepawa succeeded in producing the first photograph ever taken. However, the first image required 8 hours of light exposure and later faded. In 1837, Louis Daguerre created a camera with an exposure time of around 20 minutes, created a sharp picture and which did not fade. This need for stillness made posing for pictures a serious business. No smiling. It is hard to hold a smile for that long. In 1841, William Henry Talbot patented the calotype process, the first negative-positive process making possible the first multiple copies. In 1871, Richard Leach Maddox invented the gelatin dry plate silver bromide process, which meant negatives no longer had to be developed immediately. Over the years, technological advancements in camera production allowed for shortened exposure times. In the 1800s, cameras predominantly used hefty glass plate negatives for each exposure. The use of photographic film was pioneered by George Eastman, who started manufacturing paper film in 1885 before switching to celluloid in 1888. This made the film flexible and able to be rolled. His first camera, the Kodak, sold for $25. The film would need to remain in a dark box camera, which would be sent in its entirety back to the Eastman Company for the images to be processed. The Kodak camera had a roll that could hold 100 pictures. It was advertised for $10 the roll was processed and the camera sent back with a new roll of film. It was advertised with the slogan, "You press the button, we do the rest." The high cost of the camera and film kept photography within the reach of only the wealthy. In 1900, Eastman introduced the Brownie, a tiny cardboard box camera with a meniscus lens whose film could be taken out of the camera after shooting and developed at home or sent away to be developed. The Brownie camera was affordable at the price of $1. 100,000 of them were purchased during the first year alone. The film and processing cost $2, allowing the common person affordability. A common laborer who made around 20 cents per hour for a 50-hour work week, which amounted to $10 a week, could now afford a camera and to take their own snapshots. And it follows with 2 made-from-scratch cake recipes from Helen's kitchen. Banana cake with peanut butter icing and oatmeal spice cake. And they are available in the press. January Blues, Your Listening Ear by Delcy Martin. January is widely considered to be the most depressing month of the year, and for many, this January will live up to those expectations. To understand why January feels like such a letdown, we have to actually look at December. December is that incredibly hectic month of preparation for the holiday season, with lots of expectations, socializing, and busy schedules. By the end of the month, your social battery is left drained, and you are rolling into January with an empty tank. After the excitement of December, January can feel like a letdown socially and emotionally. Many people experience feelings of emptiness as decorations come down. December's expenses can leave many families in financial trouble, making financial strain a very real contributing factor to people's moods in January. It's very normal to experience feelings of discomfort as routines in January resume, which can also account for feelings of melancholy. Returning to work and school after a break can feel very strange. This can be especially disconcerting for those who are neurodivergent and struggle with changes in routine or transitions. It can all feel especially overwhelming if workloads pick up once you are back to work and school. Smooth, gradual transitions back into routine can make sticking to a routine more likely to be successful. Seasonal affective disorder, SAD, is a specific type of mood disorder that occurs at a specific times of the year, like during fall and winter months, when there is less natural sunlight. Symptoms of SAD can be feelings of sadness, fatigue, changes in sleep and eating habits, and loss of interest in enjoyed activities. January is a very common time of year for those symptoms to be at their worst. SAD can be treated using a variety of methods such as light therapy, counseling, medications, and vitamin D. So if you feel you might be struggling with SAD, make sure to reach out to your healthcare team, get yourself a SAD lamp, easily available online, and ask your primary care provider about taking a vitamin D supplement. Imagine, if you will, it's January 1st and you resolve to give up chocolate. This is how we know this is a work of fiction. Now imagine yourself on January 3rd indulging in your favorite 70% dark bar, and whoops, failed resolutions are a very real thing, and another good reason that folks just don't feel their best in January. Often people set resolutions that are either too difficult or unachievable, causing them to quit early. When it comes to resolutions, remember to set a resolution because it will motivate you and will make you feel good. Don't do it for someone else. Set goals that are achievable. And if you don't know if your goal is achievable, ask a buddy. To help keep away those January blues, make sure to plan something fun for this month. One thing at minimum. Do extra self-care, and most of all, give yourself extra grace. This month, dear reader, it's a tough one for a lot of us. And we keep going. Oh. And Stanley County cut-ups to perform in Neepawa. Manitoba's premier bluegrass band, the Stanley County Cut-Ups, takes to the Kaleidoscope concert stage at Arts Forward on Friday, January 17th at 7:30 p.m. This bluegrass group combines northern style with southern flavor, including hard-driving banjo and mandolin solos, hair-raising fiddle tunes, and 4-part harmony singing. Although they love the golden age bluegrass sound, every once in a while they'll add a contemporary piece, maybe a Miranda Lambert or Neil Young tune, or maybe an original song. No matter what they play, you'll be tapping your toes and feel like dancing to the Stanley Country Cut-Ups. The opening act for the evening is the Porteous Family Band, featuring Oliver and Frances Porteous, along with their parents Ian Porteous and Alana Lewandowski. The boys are learning and having fun performing old-time and bluegrass music with their parents at local festivals and are official buskers at Wasagamine. Get your tickets early and save money. Advance tickets are $20 for adults and may be purchased at Arts Forward or online at Eventbrite. Tickets will be available at the door for $25. Tickets for students under 18 are $5 and are only available at the door. Beverages will be available for purchase. This event is made possible by the generous sponsorship of Harris Pharmacy, as well as a grant from the Manitoba Arts Council. And Arden Men's Curling Bonspiel results by Kayla Hunter. The Arden Curling Club hosts its annual Men's Curling Bonspiel between January 2nd to the 5th. Below are the names of the members from the winning teams and the 3 events. Skip to lead. The winners of the Enns Brother Equipment first event were Carrie McLennan, Ken Otto, Guy Small, and John Halushki. They won against the Mark Kirkowicz in the event final, and they are pictured here. The winners of the Delmar Commodities second event, Jeff Cook, Brent Boyle, Jack Boyle, and Lachlan Cook. Their team was victorious against Carter Shetler in the final event, and that is that team there. And the Rocky Mountain Equipment third event winners were Kevin Paramore, Harvey Hankey, Ron Kalbacki, and Dennis Orton. They won against the Morley Walker in the final event, sending out a big thank you to the volunteers, sponsors, and curlers that made the event a success. And that is the third event winners pictured there. And now we'll just move from the present back to the past. Looking Back by Casper Warren. 125 years ago, 1900. And just to note that the entries for 1900 are from the Neepawa Register, as the press for that year is not fit for regular handling. Several cases of diphtheria are reported at the North End. Stringent measures are being taken by the health officers to prevent the spread of the disease. Riding Mountain. No sleighing yet, the 19th of January. Lumbermen fear they will not be able to get their logs out. Riding Mountain. The engine for A.H. Soughton's sawmill has arrived. They will begin operations at once. 6 more men are required. Riding Mountain. Our mail is soon to run through from Neepawa to Norgate to Riding Mountain. It will meet the general approval of the people. Franklin. Miss L. Robinson, who has also been carrying on dressmaking during the past summer, has moved her business into the post office store next to the news store, this being more adequate for her demands. Franklin. Peter L. was proprietor of the Franklin House, who lost his team some days ago by an elopement, received a telegram Friday night that it was captured at Morden. He boarded the freight Saturday morning for that point and expects to be back tomorrow. The foolish fellow who took the horses will no doubt have to pay the penalty of the law. It is too bad that the woman should escape punishment in a case of this kind. She deserves an equal punishment meted out. Inkerman. School is in full swing with an attendance of 30 pupils. Franklin. Measles have broken out in our midst. 100 years ago, January 9th, 1925. John Roberts, one of the most esteemed farmers of Mountain View neighborhood, died at his home on Wednesday morning after a long illness. He had not been seen much about town for some years owing to his disability. Since returning in 1923 from Bangor, Saskatchewan, where he spent nearly 2 years with his brother Thomas, he kept quite closely to the homestead. The late Mr. Roberts was a native of Wales and came to Manitoba in 1882. It was in 1890 that he located here, and this has been his abode since that time. Although not taking a prominent part in community affairs, he was always a helper and ranked as a generous and reliable neighbor. 75 years ago, 1950, James Henry Monington, pioneer and soldier of the Neepawa district, passed away quietly early Saturday morning, January 7th. One of the oldest members of the Canadian Legion, Mr. Monington, was in his 92nd year. The Council of Rural Municipality of Langford, at the regular meeting December 15th, decided on a grant of $490 to the Neepawa General Hospital. Riding Mountain. Mr. and Mrs. Levi Rogers were at home to their many friends on January 2nd on the occasion of their 46th wedding anniversary. The small village of Mentmore is made up of a general store and post office, blacksmith shop, pool elevator, a small station house, and a large curling rink. Early in 1949, a joint meeting of the community club and curling club was held. They decided to combine resources, and through this it was possible to start work on a new rink. Work started in June and continued throughout the summer and fall. The new rink measured 168 by 46 feet with a waiting room 24 by 34 glassed in. A room 24 by 24 feet upstairs with a glassed front will be used as a community hall for dances, club meetings, and the like. So it was on Friday, December 16th, 1949, that Mentmore Community saw its long hoped for ambition completed when their $7,000 rink was officially opened. 50 years ago, 1975, Brent Osborne went by truck to Winnipeg before Christmas to assist Mr. and Mrs. Cliff Lewandowski with the moving of their household effects to their farm near Mountain Road, where they now have taken up residence. Glenella's Sabrettes and the Neepawa girls battled to a 3-3 tie in an exhibition hockey game playing in Glenella Monday night. Gayleen Petrebka, Connie Marsiski, and Joanne Marsiski scored for Glenella, while B. Welpton, Y. Bremner, and S. Thomas replied for Neepawa. And pictured is Mrs. Joseph Woolman of the Brookdale Colony with her son, the first baby born in Neepawa District Memorial Hospital in 1975. The baby, who was unnamed at the time of the photo, was born at 6:24 a.m. on January 2nd and weighed in at 9 pounds 4.5 ounces. This photo was in the January 9th edition of the press for that year. And 20 years ago, 2005, at least one Neepawa councillor believes the town shouldn't take the downsizing of a proposed personal care home lying down. I feel the commitment was made for 120 beds and we shouldn't get any less, said Terry Volden. Healthcare is critical to this community and what we have should be maintained. Assiniboine RHA CEO Penny Sorensen said since the care home was announced in 1999, fundamental changes have been made to healthcare. Sorensen also pointed out that while Eastview Lodge provides a heavy level of care, the facility is never filled to capacity. Neepawa's first baby of 2005 made her appearance one day into the new year, after her parents drove through blizzard-like conditions from McCreary to get to the hospital. The Manitoba Association of School Bus Officials, MASBO, is urging Transport Canada not to make child car seats in school buses mandatory. MASBO questions how a child in a car seat would be evacuated in an emergency, and how a child in a window seat blocked by a child in a car seat on the aisle would be able to get out of the bus. The organization also wants to know who will pay for tethers, straps, and seats. And from the past, we go to the present and a bit of the future, our Kids Scoop page. And this week it focuses on the sun. There's quizzes and experiments, all to do with the suns, plus smart fun at home, learning how to read a newspaper and writing winter words, something to keep your kids busy for a little while. And that concludes the reading of the Neepawa Banner and Press for Friday, January 10th, 2025. Hope you enjoyed.